Hello, Yalla team. A very good evening to all of you. Myself is Irfan. I'm a backend engineer with 6 year plus experience in the software industry. I'll be answering some questions today sent by Naseem. So I'm recording this video from my phone and from my headphone for better audio and video quality. So the question is, the email is open on my desktop. It's a Pratapi. So I'll be reading that question and will be trying to answer that over here. So the first question is, how does indexing work in relation database? Give detailed internal implementation of the indexing in your own words. So the basic objective and the basic purpose of the indexing is to optimize your performance to give better result in your CRUD operation. That is the main objective of the indexing, and this is very powerful. This is very powerful feature of the database that help us to increase the performance of any query or any request. So the way the indexing work is that you have a separate data structure in the database which is reserved for indexing. So on that and that structure you have the addresses, and you have the actual value, and you have the addresses which we call it pointer. So suppose if I run a query to get me the record of the customer ID or other field. So instead of searching the whole table, instead of scanning the whole cell, which is going to take the linear time, which is very consume, which is very expensive. So instead of searching the whole table, what the indexing will do, that at first go to the indexing and get which is already in the sorted form based on the video. So and from an indexing I'll get the pointer, and pointer will be pointing me exact location of the record that is placed in the actual database. So I'll be going fetching only that specific record, not scanning the all record. So the time complexity become binary, which is I guess log of n, which is very efficient as compared to which is very efficient as compared to the linear search. So I'm drawing a structure for your proper understanding. So suppose this is my structure where we are storing where we are storing our pointers and actual values. So suppose my customer ID will be at this point and my pointer will be in this point. So this is stored in the proper sorted format. So like 1000 to 5 million records, and the pointer will be there. So suppose if I give a query to get a specific customer ID, so it will come first over here, get the pointer, okay, and then we'll be going to the specific portion of the table, specific portion, fetching only the specific record, and instead of scanning the whole record. So this is how the indexing work. I'll be going to the next question. And the next question is Node.js a single thread or multi-thread, and how many thread Node.js run application code? So since the Node.js is still based on JavaScript, which is a single thread architecture, okay, so let's make the Node.js also a single thread. But the Node.js has its own architecture which which support the parallel threading, and which is a very beauty, I would say, the beauty and the power of the Node.js, that it can further make the threading into very proper format. So I'll be giving some example. Like we have a separate thread to handle the IO operation. For that we have separate thread, and it's running parallel without any interruption with other threads, which facilitating only the IO operation. So that is the one thread that is continually parallel. In the other thread which is worker thread, and that support, that handle, that facilitate the computational, the arithmetic operation which needs the CPU execution. So the worker thread handle that type of the thread, and without interrupting the IO thread. This is also learning failure thread. Further, the IO, the worker thread is also having further thread augmentation, which make it easy for them to handle, I mean, multiple requests, multiple, I would say multiple jobs at the same time. We do have other type of thread which is called cluster threads, which help facilitate to do some other operation in the Node.js architecture. So this is how the Node.js architecture work. This is, I mean, all of the is asynchronous learn failure, which is the main beauty of the Node.js. Okay. The next question is how Node.js is able to handle more requests per second compared to the PHP on a server of the same specification. So as I said in the question before that, Node.js is a single thread architecture, which further handles threading in their own, I mean, parallel architecture way. So for IO we have separate, for arithmetic operation we have separate thread, so which is make it faster as compared to the older server architecture. Okay, this is the one point. The second point is that since it is based on the JavaScript, which is V8 engine, and I mean it is super fast as compared to the PHP architecture or any other server architecture such as Python or Go. So I mean this is way much faster than, and way much lighter than the PHP architecture. The third and very beauty of Node.js is asynchronous. I mean, and the other architecture type like a PHP or a Python. I mean, if your multiple requests, which requests need to wait until complete the other requests, and that is not happening in the Node.js. I mean, you can handle all the requests at the same time. You can send multiple requests. I mean, your server is not blocked, or you are not busy with any your operation. So that this is the beauty of the Node.js, which make it which gives leads, which gives edge to the other backend languages. Okay, yes, and of course, I mean, when it's asynchronous, so the communication with the database become also very easy. You can handle multiple requests at the same time. That is the beauty of the Node.js. Okay, I have next question, that if you are asked to roll out a custom e-commerce platform on your own that has a high performant and highly scalable, how you design the whole system? Okay, mention the language you will choose to for the backend, okay, front end, databases, and the whole infrastructure you seem necessary for attaining your goals. Yeah, pretty interesting. So for me, I have like not a deep knowledge of the e-commerce, but for me, like if I see e-commerce architecture, I believe that the most important and the most I mean the most critical thing would be for me is the customer, that how I can give the seamless, fast, and very reliable response to my customer. So that will be the one thing for me, for my concern. And the customer is, I mean the customer is the customer is interested more in the products. So it's mean that I'll be giving more focus on the product, that how how my e-commerce should give the good response, the fast response in the product website. So suppose if a user come and search for any product, it should give the seamlessly and efficient and fast response to the user. So that is the one thing that I'll be keeping in mind. Security and all the measure, yes, of course, that will also be in the mind, but the most important thing will be there. So for that, yeah, that will be my top priority, to give the my customer good fast response. So in that regards, I'm hoping to to use the relational database, of course, yes. I mean, the relational database will be there for my data integrity and for my for my data best data quality to use, of course. The RDMS will be there, okay. But with RDMS, I'll be also using NoSQL. As I said, that the performance is the critical over here, so I'll be using also no SQL. And nowadays, I mean, the very powerful and very amazing technology which come and which is like mind blowing is Elastic. So also I'll be using Elastic with my RDBMS. So for the RDBMS, I'll be also I can go with the MySQL or Postgres, but in any case, I guess MySQL will be the best choice for me. So MySQL with Elasticsearch. Elasticsearch will be for the product search and stock and my product promotion, discount, all that information will be also saved on my main RDBMS, which is MySQL, and also in my Elasticsearch. Elasticsearch is for the quick and efficient response in the for the product. If suppose a user is searching for any product or any category, so the Elasticsearch will be handling all that requests, because searching in the MySQL database is time consuming in case if you have like millions and huge data. That is the one thing, okay. Regarding the backend, so I myself, I have more experience in Python, so yes, of course. But that depends upon my team. I mean, I'll be looking into what is the capacity of my team. Do I have the R&D time? Do I have that much bandwidth that I can do some R&D and choosing the best language? But yes, of course, like, but you know that since I'll be following the microservices architecture, so I'm not bound to any language. I can use different flavors, for authentication. Sorry, for product, I'll be product search, I'll be going with Elasticsearch and Node API, of course, and for the mail and for the reporting and for that purposes, since I'm a core Python developer, I have more experience on that side. So yes, I'll be choosing the Python for all the tasks that is not I mean, the performance is not issue, like the reporting and all that stuff is related to or internal office or internal discussion. So for that, I'll be going with the with the Python. So we do have different flavors of Python. So as I said, that we'll be following the microservice architecture. So I mean, I'm not bound to any specific framework or any specific language. I can go with the different flavor. So the for the backend language, that will be my approach. Databases I explained earlier, okay. For the front end, it depends upon my team, but nowadays, like Angular, React, and Vue is the top because of the seemingly responsible. So yes, these three would be my choice, but that depends on my team capacity and the structure of my team. That will be needed some R&D and some discussion in that regard as well. That is the other thing. Regarding, okay, the other thing is scalable. We discussed that. Mentioned language. We discussed that. Front end. We discussed the database. We discussed, yes, infrastructure, which is very important. Infrastructure, I'll be going with the infrastructure that should be scalable, of course. I mean, like in e-commerce, we do have the peak time, like in the Christmas or the holidays or Eid in our situation. So I mean, at that time, we need to scale up our services. So like, suppose for the product or the payment or other service need to be at high scale at that point or at that day. So that is the thing that I'll be keeping, and for that I'll be going with the auto scaling. I mean, terminology technology for that. Okay. Also, I'll be sorry. Also, I'll be going with load balancer so that to distribute my requests properly in my instances to give the proper seamless responses. Other than that, as I said that Elasticsearch a combination with MySQL for the product search, that will be also my approach. And I can say that other than that, yeah, that's a pretty much all. Other are I mean very well known that EC2 instance. And yeah, yeah, one thing I forget almost, S3 bucket I'll be using for the static, like for the pictures and all the thing. That will be I'll be using the static for all the static related media files or anim files. I'll be using the S3 packets to give me this. I'll be now storing it by the server. I'll be using the S3 separate structure for that, so that the proper seamlessly response I get from the servers. So that will be my approach in the infrastructure side. Yeah, that is also okay. Next question I have. Okay, we have a Node.js application running on a CPU EC2 instance and handling around 1500 requests per second. That's a quite good, huge request. Right now we are getting around 15 requests per secondly. Okay, but need to serve 300 requests per second during the holiday sales. How we can attain these keeping our cost minimum? Okay, yes. So this is very important parts in the e-commerce, that you need to give seamless response. Over the holidays, the the things become very unusual at that time. So of course, yes, as I said in the previous question, that auto scaling, so that I'm not relying on my infrastructure variable. So some of my services will be auto scale, like as I said, that product or the payment will be that services that should be auto scale. Okay, next, load balancer, of course, to properly if I'm going to horizontal scaling, adding multiple EC2 instance. So yeah, I should have a proper strong load balancer that should route my request properly. The second thing, okay, the third thing, before going, when I realized that the holiday season is coming, so I should duly check my database is optimized, it is giving proper response, my index is properly properly indexed my database. Yeah, that also keep a huge role in your performance. Thirdly, I'll be having running some different test cases, performance test cases, to check the my response in my course structure. That will be my approach. And one thing I have come from forwarding, some of the script that need to be go to the serverless. So like, as compared to the you're putting all the burden on your backend server is not a good approach. Or you're all in the code. So some of the extension you should go with the serverless, like AWS Lambda functions. Some of I'm sure there are some things that we can put in that script, so that it also help, that also increasing the performance a lot. Going to next question. Okay, how do you ensure that your code is open for extension and closed for modification? What all principle of you will see with to attain that? Okay. Yes, of course. So I'll be following for the open extension modification. I'll be following open close methodology, which is a methodology which ensure your code structure should be like modifiable, but but it shouldn't change the base structure of your base code. So suppose if I have a abstract classes, if I have a structure which is built for a specific purpose, okay, so later on if my instances are modifying it, like I'm inheriting it at some point, it shouldn't change my structure of the base code, okay. So that should be the approach when following when we are going toward more dynamic or more reusable structure. That should be the approach that should follow. Okay, next question. Do you have experience with the fair code review? If you are assigned task to review the code for review, that all thing do you look for? Yes, of course. Yeah, normally in Simplify VMS, I'm working with the company. We do review our fair code. My code has been reviewed by my fair and my team lead, okay, and the other my co-workers code I reviewed, I also reviewed that. So the things we keep in mind that we practice is the uh, structure of the code, okay. How will your code is structured? We have some standards that we are following. So the first thing is that we look into the your you give the proper naming to your variables, you give proper meaning to your methods, that is not too smelly, okay. And that it should understandable, it's give proper meaning, okay. So that is the one thing we are looking for. The second thing we are looking for, that your code is well tested, test cases is been reading and they qualified all the test cases. So we are also looking in the test result while reviewing the code. That is the second thing. The third thing we are looking into is that your code is, whenever the comment is needed, it is well written, it is explained. We believe that a code should be human understandable, not machine understandable, okay. So first we try to give the naming convention is a meaningful, but the situation which is not possible, so what they'll be putting the commits, but the commit should be explainable and it is up to date. That is the one thing. The comment is, but because with updation or bug fixing, we fix the code but we forget to update the comment. We also look into that the comment is properly updated or not, okay. Thirdly, we look the security is properly followed or not, the security measures is followed or not, okay. And finally the last thing, yeah, I guess that is the whole thing that we looking. Yeah, the performance, that you follow the proper algorithm, you follow the proper concept or not, your code is optimized or not, what is the term complexity of your time code, what is the space complexity. We also keep the things in the mind as well. Whew. Okay. uh, Name some of the HTTP request type. What is the difference between put and fetch? So majorly we used first for sending data to the server for mostly for insertion purposes. Okay, we use put for data updation, for fully data updation we use a put. We use the fetch for partially data updation, okay. And we use delete for delete purposes. There are other requests that sometimes we use, like trace our option to get information from the server. The difference between put and fetch here, yes, you use put for, when you want to update the fully record. Suppose you have a table where you are storing the customer ID, product ID and product name. So if you want to update the product ID and the product name, okay, so for that you will be using the product put request. And if you want to update only the product name, I'm just giving you a use cases, okay. For that you will be using the fetch request. That is you can get that from the put, but this is the best way to use the proper request for the specific request. Whew. Next we have what is JWT and OAuth. JWT, Java Web Token, is mainly used to communication between client and server, okay, between two parties. like suppose I'm sending request, I'm hitting my server through some API. How my server will know, how I'll ensure that yes, I'm the rightful person, I'm the authentic person to utilize your resources to hit your your API. Okay, so for that we use the JWT, which is like a standard format. And the structure of the JWT format is that you have some information regarding your server. Okay, there are expiry, when your token will expire, we also keep that information in the JWT. Then there are encryption, there are encryption algorithm used for decode your JWT information. Okay, and then we can also modify and send some information from our side as well in the JWT. If you want to send some information from your side, some of the information is the predefined, which is with every request. Okay, but if you want to modify your request and add some other information, you can do that with the JWT as well. So JWT is purely used for authentication purposes. Okay, and OAuth is specifically used for authorization purpose. So suppose that my website or my e-commerce, I don't want to, a user don't want to create sign up for any account for any login. So the e-commerce should provide the facility to use the third party like social media app, Apple ID or Google ID, to authenticate the user. So for authenticate authorization purpose, we use the OAuth. So we have different flavor for that in our OAuth server. Okay, what are indexes? Give me an example, you have used indexes. Okay, so as I explained earlier, that indexes are used for query optimization. It helps to optimize your database, it helps to optimize your request. Okay, and the way it's work is you have the structure which store your value with the pointers, which is specifically pointed to a specific portion of your record, a specific portion or block or your record. Okay, so instead of searching the whole sorry, instead of searching the whole table, which is time consuming, it's a linear search. So we go to the that index part, we go to that portion and getting information, getting pointer from that structure, and then going to the our actual table. So it's like a book index. If you want to search for anything, you go to the index page, get relevant page from that, and you directly go to that page. So that is how it works. There are different type like clustering interest, not non-clustering interest. There's a different discussion, okay. And give an example where I have used. So we use it, almost every time, and like whenever we see that this information is needed, this information is retrieve relevant, it retrieve rapidly. So on that we use the indexing, like authorization and authentication. I recently used for authorization application to optimize my responses and to give the, because the company I'm working, a lot of users have connected. We have like hundreds of requests every second for authentication. That's a huge ERP. So authentication is a crucial model, and so for that we use the indexes for in that model. But while using the indexing, it's a very costly thing. You have to be very careful when to use the indexing, because it's consume your resources, your RAM and your space memory as well. So you need to be very careful while using indexing, and too much indexing sometimes is not a good thing as well. So some are needed to when using the indexes. Okay, last question. Thanks God. Difference between abstract class and interfaces. So both are OOP concept. Okay, the objective of both is abstraction. in abstract class we define our blueprint that how should these classes, how should these functionality could be utilized and furtherly. So that's what we do in abstraction. So for that we have to method abstract classes and interfaces. So the difference between the abstract classes and the interfaces, that in the abstract classes you don't have the restriction to make everything abstract. Like you can have abstract method or non-abstract method as well in the abstract, but in the enterprises you don't have that freedom. Everything should be abstract. The blueprint should define, and you need to make the declaration and definition and your conception and your when you inherit the enterprise at that level. Okay. uh, we can on the consumption side we can inherit only one abstract classes, but we don't have that restriction. In the interfaces we can have multiple inheritance, and and we can inherit different interfaces at the same point. So that is the main that is the main difference between the abstract classes and interfaces. I hope I satisfy all the question, and I'm looking forward to working with you guys, because I heard about Yala and its team and their motivation and their synergy, that how they're enthusiastic with this startup. So I'm believing that yes, I can give my best and collaborate with you guys, learn from you guys, and have like some adventure with you guys. So looking forward to it. See you. Bye bye.